everybody, it's Christine. Today I'm starting a new video series on layouts that have a quilted look to them. So I'm going to be doing different techniques with paper primarily that will give a quilted look on a layout. I thought that would be a fun one to explore, and I was inspired by this collection specifically from Simple Stories to do just that. So this is the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Ancestry collection, and it is gorgeous, full of just really rich colors. And I don't generally tend to have a vintage style. So as I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate my style into this collection. And immediately I thought, I'm going to do like a patchwork design because that fits perfectly into the heritage vintage kind of look, but also fits with my style. And so what I'm doing is I am taking several of the papers and I am cutting 2-inch squares from them. And I chose a variety of papers, but I tried not to pick anything that was too super busy. I also tried to have a balance of monochromatic papers and papers with extra color in them. I didn't want to have it be super solid looking. I wanted those patterns in there for sure. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these 2-inch squares and I'm going to cut them on the diagonal so that they are triangle shape. Now, this technique specifically, this design that I'm making today, can totally work with straight up squares mostly. But if you want to get more patterns in there, then splitting it into triangles allows you to do just that. And that was my goal. I have done this previously with almost all squares. But today was one of the times when I decided I wanted the extra patterns in there for sure. So I'm going to work with that. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to assemble it. And what I'm going to be assembling today is going to look like a heart. And there's a couple different quilting patterns out there to make things look like a heart. I chose the one that I personally like the best and the one that I thought would look the best on a scrapbook layout. So this is certainly not the only one, and you can definitely go onto Pinterest and just Google quilt designs and you will just find unlimited options. But this one, what I like about it is it's very, very basic. Squares and triangles. You don't need any extra shapes. You don't need to try and cut anything fancy. You don't even really need a special pattern. Once you've looked at it, you can kind of figure out where you're going to go with it. So let's get to the look of the actual heart. I do definitely recommend assembling your heart on some scrap paper so that you can cut it out and place it onto your layout. This just makes it easier so you don't get off. Like if you get things not straight or anything like that, it just saves you a headache later. It's easier to place on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble 4 squares across and 4 squares up. And then my final piece will be a triangle at the top. So you'll see that coming. Now, some of the things I'm keeping in mind as I'm doing this. Trying to not have the same color right next to each other. So almost every one of these papers, I have a patterned base and a monochromatic base. So like 2 of the reds, 2 of the blues, 2 of the golden browns, 2 of the olive greens. So I'm trying not to have the red pattern with the red pattern within a square or back to back. That's the only real thing I'm trying to keep in mind. And then I just am kind of looking at it saying, okay, what do I need here? What am I missing here? So starting off, I'm building, like I said, I'm going up 4 and over 4, or you could go with, I'm building a 3x3 square and then I'm going to add another layer. But I'm not going to build a complete 4x4 square because that's where the heart shape starts to come in. So I'll get the 3x3 square on here and then I will build the top bumps of the heart, if you will, onto both parts. So now that I've got that square, now I'm going to add another 3 on top and I'm going to add another 3 on the other side. So it's nearly a complete square, but not quite. It's going to leave out that top corner square, and that is where the top of the heart starts to take shape. And this is where, if you're doing it with all squares, you're going to need just a few triangles to complete it, because you can't make it a complete square otherwise. I'm sorry, I mean a complete heart otherwise. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take over those top 3 and side 3, you're going to do a triangle on the outside, a square in the middle, and then another triangle on the outside. And I'm going to just let you see how that comes together to make a heart bump. And then we will do the same thing up top, and that will make the complete look of a heart. So triangle on the outside, and then a square in the middle, and one more triangle on the outside. And yes, I'm going to switch that blue out because I don't want blue up against blue. So there you can see you've got what looks like a heart, looks like a patchwork heart made up of a whole bunch of beautiful pattern paper triangles. Now I will just follow the outline and cut it out, and then I'm going to adhere it to my base. As I said earlier, I definitely recommend doing this on scrap paper first. I have tried to do it on the base right off the bat, and it did not work. And I do want you to see you could do a heart like that with the triangle at the top as well. If you like that look better. There's some other ways you can just kind of play with the shape of it. And like I said, you can look up other heart patterns. This is just the one that I liked the best and felt like would fit the best on a 12 by 12 layout. So cutting this out so I can place it on accordingly. And if you follow pretty closely, you will be able to keep things pretty nice and straight. Even if you cut your triangles a smidge off and whatever, it's not going to be a huge deal. Now I am going to pull from the coordinating cardstock back for my base page. It has a little bit of printing on it that adds just enough detail that it doesn't look totally solid and stark, but not so much that it distracts, because we've already got a lot going on here. Now something I'm doing today that I've never done in all my 15 years of scrapbooking is using a sepia photo. I actually went on my computer and printed out this family picture in sepia because I just thought it would go so nicely with this collection. And so I did that, and it looked really cool. And it was funny when I first showed my husband this layout, he's like, "Why is the picture so yellow?" And I was like, "Oh, that's on purpose." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." But I totally confused him because he just had never seen that look from me. So I'm adding that on just at the bottom of the heart there. And yes, it's going to cover up some of the heart, but not so much that you lose the whole design at all. I think it actually works quite well. So I'm going to add that on, and I'm actually going to pop it up with some 3D foam adhesive. Okay, so this next part, I actually had some technical problems, so I'm going to talk you through the rest of the layout. But you did get the gist of the quilted part. So continuing on, I ended up tearing up this top corner. I ripped it up, and then I connected some of the golden patterned paper up top here. So you can see I just added a strip all the way across, and this tearing then adds to that vintage look. I tucked some ephemera and 6x8 sticker pad flowers underneath here, so those are just tucked right underneath. And then I added, of course, an extra phrase up here, and I've got puffy stickers, I've got a brad, and then of course some Nuvo drops to coordinate. I did add some mist splatter throughout. And then up here on the edges, let's talk about these. This is washi tape, and I did this all the way around, trying to create, again, a vintage look. And I'm going to show you exactly how I approached that. So what I did for this is I just peeled off some washi. And then you've already got the torn edges. I just tore parts of it off the top to further up that distressed look, and then just adhered it right onto the layout. So that worked really cool for an added technique on there. For my title, I used puffy foam stickers. Just a big word family. I like that this is a little bit less vintage, just because it fits my look better, and they have both options within that puffy sticker set, or I'm sorry, foam sticker set. Keep calling it puffy, I'm sorry about that. And then I also have a variety of stickers here along the edges, just to add a little bit of extra to the whole thing. I also tucked one of the chipboard frames in right here to bring some extra into the picture. And you can see lots of dimension going on for this layout. Oh, that's a better view. There you go. Lots of interesting things going on, all brought together by beautiful colors in the quilted design. So I will be playing with this quilting technique, creating different patchwork looks throughout the next month-ish. I have some fall ideas that I really want to explore. And that is it for today. So thank you so much for joining me. Sorry we lost the end of the video, but you got a good close-up look anyway. And be sure to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already a subscriber. If you want to check out close-ups of this layout, you can see them on the Simple Stories blog over at simplestories.com. We'll see you next time.